It's June 6th, 2026, and the temperature in New Delhi is blistering. A roiling mass of thousands of young people has taken over Jantar Mantar, packed shoulder to shoulder and sweating through their shirts under the midday sun. Many of them are wearing crude, homemade paper cockroach masks. The crowd is focused on a single target, Union Education Minister Dharmender Pradhan. They are here to demand his immediate resignation. Protesters are weaving through the heat holding up mock trophies. One group is parading an orange cap, a satirical emerging paper leaker award dedicated to the National Testing Agency. While the props and masks look like a viral joke come to life, the shouting tells a different story. This is an uncoordinated, raw eruption from a generation that feels pushed to its absolute limit by a system they no longer trust. To understand why millions of young people are now identifying as insects, we have to look back at a specific moment inside the Supreme Court of India. On May 15th, Chief Justice Surya Kant was presiding over a hearing regarding fake law degrees and the professional conduct of lawyers. During the proceedings, the Chief Justice criticized individuals who use social media and public activism to attack the judiciary, labeling unemployed youth and activists as parasites and cockroaches who have no place in a profession. The comment sparked immediate national outrage. Within 24 hours, digital strategist Abhijit Dipke weaponized the insult, launching the Cockroach Janta Party, or CJP, as a satirical front for the youth the judge had dismissed. The movement adopted a specific biological logic. If you step on one cockroach in the dark, thousands more emerge from the woodwork. By attempting to degrade these young people, the state inadvertently provided them with a banner to unite under. They took a term meant to silence them and turned it into a symbol of resilience. This line chart plots the frequency of major Indian exam leaks over the last 10 years. By 2026, the trend line turns nearly vertical. We are looking at a system where nearly 90 distinct competitive exams have been compromised in a single decade. That data translates to real trauma for students like Ujjwal Pandey. His sister spent years preparing for the NEET medical exam, only for the paper leak to force her to relocate to Noida and start her entire preparation from scratch under immense financial stress. Another protester, Sagar, described how his younger brother sat for the 12th grade CBSE exams. When they paid for a recheck of the results, the paper sent back to them wasn't even the one his brother had written. The evaluation itself had been manipulated. Ringu Kumar Meena traveled from Jaipur to share a similar story. He scored 18 marks above the required cutoff for a government job, yet his name was missing from the final selection list without explanation, while lower-scoring candidates were recruited. These stories are the fuel for the protest. For these students, the issue isn't about politics. It's about a decade of systemic corruption that has effectively erased years of their hard work. Working professionals and educators like Narendra and Dharmendra are standing alongside the students. They have spent years on the front lines of the education system and see the same patterns of failure. They describe a sector that has shifted from public service to a corporate industry, where exam marks are openly negotiated and manipulated behind closed doors. From their perspective, the scale of these leaks makes the education minister the only logical target for accountability. Focusing on Pradhan's resignation is a way to force the government to acknowledge the crisis. It's an attempt to prove the state can no longer ignore the demands of the youth without facing a public, physical challenge to its authority. At the edges of Jantar Mantar, the national media's reaction to the crowd is visibly hostile. News crews are circling the protesters, often framing their questions with deep skepticism. Elements of the political establishment have branded the group with conspiratorial labels, calling them anti-national or George Soros-backed and Pakistani sympathizers, in an attempt to discredit their grievances. The government eventually escalated to digital crackdowns. Citing national security concerns, they blocked the CJP's X accounts and took down their official website, just as a petition for the minister's resignation was gaining momentum. This aggressive response has largely backfired. For the youth at Jantar Mantar, the censorship confirms their core suspicion that the system is more interested in silencing critics than it is in securing the integrity of their examinations. Despite the government's claims of a coordinated conspiracy, the reality on the ground is chaotic. There is no central stage or professional sound system. The organizers are frequently overwhelmed by the sheer volume of people arriving to join the protest, flooding in from every possible direction. Even without a formal structure or management, the massive crowd has remained peaceful. It is a purely organic response to a decade of institutional failure. Observers are already drawing parallels between this energy and historic Indian uprisings, like the JP movement and the Anna Hazare anti-corruption protests that mobilized the nation in previous decades. The Cockroach Janta Party likely won't appear on a voting machine. But the scale of this gathering suggests a change in how young Indians interact with power. By reclaiming an insult and turning it into an organization, they have found a way to make the government acknowledge their frustration, turning a viral joke into a persistent demand for answers.